A beautiful evening to you. You're welcome to Sport Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Manuel. Very happy to be here this evening to bring you up to speed with the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. On today's edition of the show, we shall take a look at the Nigerian Premier Basketball League Final 8 in Port Harcourt, as well as the preparation of the Super Eagles of Nigeria in that encounter against Benin Republic. Talking about the AFCON qualifier. Promises to be an exciting one tomorrow, and we should take a look at how prepared the players are for that one. Promises to be an exciting one, and we'll urge you to sit tight as we have a lot to unravel on today's edition of the show. Take a break and we'll come back, of course. We'll let you in on all that you need to know revolving around the beautiful world of sport this evening. Stay with us to be right back. welcome back. ST Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network.
Thank you very much, Kingsley. Good evening, and beautiful evening to our viewers out there.
Of course, Kingsley Bouke is here with us. Good evening to you, Kingsley, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Emmanuel, Kingsley Emmanuel, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sports Extraordinary.
All right, let's get straight to business. We told you we're talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria, but we have to talk basketball on the show because it's really getting interesting down here in the city of Port Harcourt as we're going to experience the Nigerian Premier Basketball League Final 8 down here in the Garden City. And we hear defending champion River Supers will look to retain their Nigerian Premier Basketball League crown at Port Harcourt as Port Harcourt hosts the Final 8 playoff from November 14th to 18th, and Hoopers drawn in Group B will face tough competition from now University of Abuja, Kwara Falcons of Kwara, and Gombe Bulls of Gombe. And head coach of the side, Ogo Daudu, admit that the stakes are high with his team carrying the dual burden of defending their title and representing their state. Michael, few hours to the kickoff of the Final 8 of the Nigerian Premier Basketball League down here in Port Harcourt, and all eyes are on the host team, talking about Rivers Hoopers. I don't know what you make of it. How prepared are they for this one?
I think for me, they are pretty much prepared for this very one. I actually spoke with the coach of the side yesterday on our sister station, talking about Ogo Daudu. I had to throw one or two questions to him about their readiness and preparedness. And of course, he said that they were very, very ready to defend the title that they won last time out, especially doing it at their own backyard is going to be another Mazalin defense, title defense rather. So for me, I think going by what the coach said yesterday, even when you had to speak with their media officer this evening, she also concurred to the same line of thought to which the coach made yesterday, which is that they are very much ready to, defend this very one, not just defending the title at home, but also to pick the ticket to represent Nigeria in the Basketball African League, which is very supreme. But then again, I think you take a look at the happenings within the ecosystem of basketball right here in the country. You may want to say, a bit of improvement we've seen over the past 2 years when it has to do with the Nigerian Premier Basketball League. And I tell you, the Kingsmen, as they are popularly called, they are doing everything possible, not leaving any stone unturned. We heard that other teams as well went as far as getting one or two professional players as well to also beef up their squad. And Rivers Hoopers, they are not oblivion of that fact that may give their opponent, that advantage, and that is why they were also quick as well in making sure they go and get some other foreign players, one or two players to beef up their squad. The likes of Kelvin Amayo, back into the squad. Don't forget, Kelvin Amayo and Olisadebe was part of the Rivers Hoopers team that took part in the last Basketball African League. But shortly after that Basketball African League, they left. Why? Because our league wasn't running then, and you don't expect the players to remain right here because they will be paid whether they play or not. It is not their own duty. So now, having seen that other teams have taken that pragmatic step towards beefing their team with some quality players, Rivers Hoopers rather, they are not sleeping on their own oars, as well as they went as far as getting quality players as well to beef up their team. And I tell you, if there's anything to go by from what we've heard from the coach of the side and the media office, I tell you, Rivers Hoopers, they are ready to go. With just few minutes as we are speaking right now, that game will dunk off, and I'm expecting Rivers Hoopers to go all out rather for the victory.
Let's see how that one, of course, will pan out. Rivers Supers very much prepared for the Final 8 down here in Port Harcourt. We'll take a look at that group where Rivers Supers are, where you have Gombe Bulls, you have 9 University of Abuja, you also have, the likes of Kwara Falcons as well in that group. Which of these teams do you think will pose a huge threat to Rivers Supers?
Well, I think they are very strong teams. If you have been following basketball in Nigeria, I think within their zones, I think they are very, very strong. And I think there will be a very tough opponent for River Supers. But you also know that River Supers is one of the best teams when it comes to basketball in Nigeria. In fact, in Africa, they are trying to make a name for themselves. We saw what they did at the Basketball African League, and they were able to show the stuff they were made of. And for me, it's all about making use of home advantage. It's all about also trying to make you playing at home to count. And against the team from Abuja, I think they can do it. I think Kwara Falcons is more like a household name. They are well known, and
they've been in the Basketball African League before.
Exactly. So the one they went and they were unable to do so. They couldn't do so much. But I think in terms of being a name in basketball in Nigeria, I think the Kwara Falcons team, for the team from Gombe, is it the Gombe Bulls or something? I might not really know them. I might not really know so much about them. You know, from that zone, we used to have the Kano Pillars team and the team from Kano and all that. But this time around, it's a team from Gombe that is coming, and we don't know how it's going to be. So I expect River Supers to make it count. I expect River Supers to win the league. That will give them an automatic ticket to also represent Nigeria again. You know, so for me, I think they have home advantage, and I think they will make it count.
Michael, are we expecting, you know, huge competition this time? Just like you mentioned, other teams, you know, beefing up their squad at this point in time. I think the other teams, they don't want to leave any stone unturned. They want to come out this time, you know, for River Supers. Are we expecting a very tough competition in this final 8?
Of course, we should be expecting a very tough competition. And you must know as well that all these 8 teams that have made it to the final 8 are potential winners. They didn't just come here for jamborees. You know, they did not come here to, you know, see the beautiful city, the garden city of Port Harcourt. They want to also make a name for themselves, and the players as well, very, very important. They will also want to market their stock out there, which is putting up an impressive performance. So I'm expecting a whole lot of competitiveness among the teams out there. Teams to watch out: Boko City Chief. You don't also push them against the wall, because there are only 2 teams that were, you know, playing an you know, undefeated you know, game so far in this season of Nigerian Premier Basketball League. Rivers Hoopers and Boko City Chiefs. Out of their 7 games, they've won all 7 without dropping any point at all. So for me, Boko City Chiefs are a threat. Hoops and Raid also very strong side. You don't need to also, you know, look down on them, because they are a very strong side as well. Gombe Bull, I watched a couple of their games. You know, about 4 of their games. I tell you, they are very good as well. They are good in taking all the 3-pointers, and if you take them for granted, they are going to, you know, deal with you. So for me, I think all the 8 teams are potential winners, and that is the reason why it is not surprising for me that some of these teams went as far as getting quality players. Why? Because they want to make a mark. They don't just they are not just coming here to be part and parcel to make up the numbers. No, they are coming here with the intention and objective of coming to win. And of course, the pressure will be on Rivers Hoopers, being the fact that they are the defending champion. 2, they will be playing at home. You know, a lot of expectation from the home fans out there for them to win. And any form of not lowering them or lowering down in their standard may be seen as, you know, not good enough from the home team. And that is why I say that it's more like a pressure for them. And that is why, while I was speaking with the coach of the Saogo Daudu yesterday, he actually went as far as dispelling that advantage of playing at home. According to him, he said that he's not even comfortable playing at home. Why? Because of the pressure that will be mounted against the team. For the fact that they are playing at their own backyard, it should be expected that, oh, you are playing at home, therefore the 12th man factor will come to play, as though the fans are going to enter into the court to make it, you know, maybe 20 against 12 players on the court, or 6 players. You know, so for me, I think a lot is expected from Rivers Hoopers. But I tell you, the competitiveness that we've seen in this season Basketball African League, in the Nigerian Premier Basketball African League rather, I think if we keep up to this pace, I tell you, we are going to see a very healthy rivalries among the clubs going forward, because it looks as though Rivers Hoopers has been dominating. Not that it look as though they have been dominating, and it will become very boring for every average football followers right here in the country. I mean, basketball followers to continue to expect the expected. When you are expecting the expected, there is nothing different. You may just, oh, Rivers Hoopers, they have won it straight 5 times, so they are highly favored. The odd is in favor of them to win it. So for me, there will be not much excitement. But when you are seeing, you know, other team living up to the expectation, coming here to push Rivers Hoopers against the wall, I think that is what keeps the fans on their toes, not expecting the expected, you know, but expecting different things altogether. That anticipation, that anxiety of not knowing what will happen in the next game, that is what more like the ingredient that spices up the game. So for me, I'm actually expecting to see a more competitiveness among the teams out there, so that we can see the best of the best, so that it won't be as though it is a one-man show where Rivers Hoopers keep dominating season in, season out.
Okay, this is the second consecutive time now Port Harcourt will be hosting the final 8 of the Nigerian Premier Basketball League. What do you think could be the reason? Is it that they have the best courts in the country?
Well, you know, hosting events comes with a lot of things. So it's all about the eagerness of the states to host, because having 7 teams come to Port Harcourt means everything will be taken care of. Especially, I don't know, but it should be the state government taking care of, maybe the sports ministry taking care of all the logistics and so many other things. I know. You know how the Niger State is, you know, the law for basketball there. You even see young people playing basketball and all that. I've been there so many times, and that area is basically for basketball, and everybody loves basketball in that area. So the fans will come in to cheer, not just on Rivers Hoopers. I think the fans like basketball, so they will be there. So for me, it's all about having the eagerness to host. And maybe the Rivers State government or the sports ministry decided to bring it back to Port Harcourt. And it has its advantage. People might say, okay, yes, it makes Rivers Hoopers feel at home. You understand? Everything might actually go their way. And we know they are the biggest team so far in the land. I think in terms of achievement, I think in terms of superiority, I think they are heads above every other team in basketball currently in Nigeria, because I think they have been dominating in terms of quality of players also. I think they're almost there. They have the best, if not having the best. So for me, it's all about bringing it home and also try to win at home. You understand? And for me also, you know how the country is. It's not really everybody that has that eagerness. Not every state that has that eagerness. And also the quality of the court. You understand? You know, the court in Niger State, I think it's very good. I think last year when I went there last, they have been able to do 1 or 2 walks in that court and all that, and it's very good to play basketball. So for me, it's all about having interest to host. Not every state will have the interest to host because of so many things involved. You know, you have to accommodate, you have to feed, you have to do all those things and all that. So, and they might be there for like 4 or 5 days and all that, and not just for the players. Officials.
Will the state also feed the other teams?
I don't know, logistics, everything, you know, feeding, you're hosting now, so you're going to put them in a hotel. I don't know how they do it, I don't know whether
they have to
I don't know whether the MBBF will release money, I don't know how they do it, but I know how it happens in football. When a state decides to host a game, the state government will decide to take much of the expenses and all that, you know, so it's all about that. So for me, it's good they are hosting. The plan is host and win. Okay. That's just it.
I think for me, I like to come in. There are so many dynamics to this on the reason why it looks as though Rivers State, you know, has been, you know, the backbone of hosting the basketball the Nigerian, the Premier Basketball League right here in the country. I think there are so many factors we need to also consider. First, you talk about the willingness of the state government. Then you talk about the sponsors on ground. 3, you talk about the input of the different state sport commissioners did they do their part? Because as a state sport commissioner, and you want such massive, championship to take place in your home, you must make a move. And it's one of your responsibility as the state sports commissioner to also bring or attract some of these major, championship down to your state as well. You'll be able to liaise with the NBBF, show your interest. Then again, you have to also factor other things in place. The sponsors on ground, are they willing, to partner with you? Not about the fact that it is only...
Are there economical benefits?
Of course, yes. And that is why I say that the sport commissioner has a very vital role to play. Out of these 8 teams that are coming and their contingent, they are not going to sleep on the sky. They are not going to starve themselves until they leave. They must lodge in 1 or 2 places.
Yes.
They must eat, and that is adding economic value to the state out there. So for me, these are things that is different state sport commissioners need to do. And when you talk about the fact maybe River State has a court, we have other courts in different places. You can't also forget that the conferences were divided into 2. We have the Nile and the Savannah Conference. Don't forget, Edo State, they have a very good court. Lagos State has a very good court. You go to North as well, they have. So it's not all about having the facilities in other states have it. It's just about the willingness and the intentional plan of the State Sport Commission. What do you want for the state? Do you want to project the state sport-wise to the country so that others will follow suit? And we also understand that the State Sport Commission, talking about River State Sport Commissioner, Barrister Christopher Green, has a serious affiliation with basketball. The man loves basketball. Aside of being, State Sport Commissioner, he takes interest in basketball, and that is why he doesn't play with the welfare of River Super. So these are some of the factors, the willingness of different states to accommodate this team, and the ability of the State Sport Commissioner to attract or be able to liaise to convince NBBF to bring such tournament down here. Why? Because you have already thought about the economic value that is going to attract to the state. It's a plus, so these are factors that I think that have made it possible for River State to, host it again twice. Not about, an issue that any man can just say, oh, NBBF, bring it down to our state. No, it doesn't work out that way. If you want to get such, response, you must do your own part of the job. And that is why I'm hinting that different state sport commissioners must be able, to know what is expected of them, do it as at when they ought to. And by so doing, you are also even projecting yourself to the national, because after you finish as a state sport commissioner, if you do well, don't forget the national is looking at you. They are monitoring your proceeding. Maybe another good step forward for you, to hold one sensitive position in the national. You have gone national from the state because of what you actually did during your era as a state sport commissioner. Away from that, another thing that actually crossed my mind in this season, Nigerian Premier Basketball League, is about the publicity. I'm very much concerned. The reason is because I walking around the streets, or even trying to do some voice pop across the street for some person to sample their opinion. It looks as though they don't even know what is happening. Yes, so I think the level of publicity is very low.
Basketball is not actually very big.
No. You can't say that basketball is not actually big. It's about publicity. See, information dissemination is key. Is key in trying to shape the way the society thinks. It's key in trying to enlighten the people on what they need to do. But when you hide information away from the people, how do you expect them to know? So you don't say that basketball is not popular. After all, in Nigeria, if you mention football, you talk about maybe athletics, the next thing that comes to your mind is basketball. So you can't say that it's not popular. The unpopularity of basketball is about the failure. I will not say the failure of journalists, because they have not given the mandate. What do I mean by the mandate? This is where, Barrister Christopher Green need to hear us right here, because we are talking as sport journalists, that we need to be carried along. You don't just call few people and say, oh, this is happening. And the situation. We cannot fuel our cars on our own down to different venues or to spread the message or to herald the message that this is what is happening in River. So the sport commissioner, if you are watching, I know he's watching because he always does. He should do his bit to also carry Swan, in quote, Swan, River State Swan along in terms of this kind of massive competition, so that we herald the message and carry the people along. And that is just my concern.
Okay, all right, let's see how this one goes. Very impressive one as from the guys down here. I tell you, look forward to see how this one will pan out at the end of the day, and we look forward to see you there at Niger Street supporting River Supers, of course, to probably retain the title they won last time. And the team's first test comes on November 14th when Nine University takes on Kwara Falcons, followed by Group A's opening clash between Bogo City Chief and Police Batting. Group A also features Hoops and Raids and Kano Pillars as well. And of course, we look forward to see how this one will go down. Our teams are expected to arrive in Port Harcourt today, and let's see how they all, of course, get down to their different, venues to make sure they get ready for this one as it stands. But let's quickly move on now to bring you some stories coming from tennis this evening, as Italian top seed Yannick Sinner defeated American Taylor Fritz 6-4, 6-4 to move closer to the last 4-0 for the ATP Tour finals. The 23-year-old world number one fought off stubborn resistance for his second win in front of a home crowd in Turin. Okay, it's been an impressive one for Yannick Sinner. This is the second victory in the WTA finals, and as well, was seeing the massive support from the Italians, to the man. What do you make of his performance so far, and as well as the support from the Italians?
Yes, I think, when you host competitions like this at home, and you are from Italy, and it's being hosted in your hometown, I think it gives you the advantage. I think in tennis, we always have this, what we call partisan crowd. The partisan crowd is always evident in a tennis game, and him coming from Italy means anytime he's playing, the crowd will always cheer him and all that. But apart from that, I think he's had a very wonderful year. Looking at Yannick Sinner, I think winning 2 Grand Slams this year has really shaped his season. I think he's been fantastic, and also he's had a moment also. I think doing he has had issues of drugs and all that, being cleared to compete and all that. I think he even had to win the US Open after that incident. And for me, I think he's been very strong, and since after that incident, I think he's been doing the job very well. And for me, he's one of the favorites for the finals, the ATP finals. I think a lot of people are expecting him to go far in the competition. So let's see how he's going to go. Winning 2 games already, which means automatically he's on to the next stage and next round and all that. So for me, it's all about keeping up with the momentum. And this year is almost ending. Next year will be much bigger. I even expect him to even win more Grand Slam next season. He was able to do 2, the Australian Open and the US Open. So I expect him to even do more next year. I know he still has competitors like Carlos Alcaraz. We still have Zverev. We still have other people trying to animate Medvedev. You might really say, okay, those people are not really a big challengers, but Carlos Alcaraz is there to challenge him because he had to share the Grand Slam this year. He won 2, Carlos Alcaraz won 2, so they shared it. So for me, it's all about being consistent. It's all about taking your game to the next level, and I think that is what Yannick Sinner has done this year. I think this year was a very good year. It will be a good year for him because it has not really ended. It will be a very good year, and for me, it's all about continue like that. And the ATP Finals is an avenue to end the year on a high, and when you end the year on a high, it means coming to next season, a lot of people will also be expecting you to do more. So for me, it's been a very good one for him so far in the competition, and I expect him to get to the finals or maybe win it.
2 wins, of course, for Yannick Sinner. this time in the ATP finals. And away from that, Daniil Medvedev defeated Alex de Minaur 6-2, 6-4 in the Eliminatory group. Fourth seed Medvedev was irritated during his opening defeat by threes on Sunday, but was far more settled in the game against Alex de Minaur. And of course, today we saw a very interesting result coming from Carlos Alcaraz, bouncing back, of course, to winning ways, got past Andrew Rublev in a 6-3, 7-6 victory. Michael, what do you make of Carlos Alcaraz bouncing back to winning ways?
It's a good one for Carlos Alcaraz, even though he lost on Sunday, but was able to redeem himself this time around, bouncing back in a very glorious manner to also get this one done and dusted against his opponent. I think for me it's a great one. The man has not been himself for me. He has lost some sort of form because I was actually expecting Carlos Alcaraz to be that man, the new poster boy in the world of tennis, especially having some of the big names, leaving the scene right now. In short, starting from last season, people were mentioning Carlos Alcaraz as the next big thing in the ATP, but then quite unfortunate for me that he hasn't been able to live up to that high hype, that high expectation. We saw how he was going for the jugular against Novak Djokovic last 2 seasons, but then all of a sudden, before you could say Jack and to complete Robinson, we saw Jannik Sinner coming from nowhere last season to even beat Novak Djokovic. Before you could also wink your eye, this season he has also toppled him and upstaged him as the world #1 to take precedence. So Jannik Sinner has been able to up his game, and that is why I said I'm very disappointed so far for the form of Carlos Alcaraz, because I was tipping him to be the next big thing, but it looks as though his blip in form has not really helped us to say yes, maybe he's going to finish the season very strong. But then one thing good is that he was able to bounce back from his Sunday loss this time around. But despite that, I still favor Jannik Sinner to coast home, this very one, to finish very strong, despite the whole controversy of doping allegation and all of that. And that is why I think Jannik Sinner possess what I call monstrous mentality, because there are certain players that all of these things will happen, they will just break down mentally. But the man, amidst all of these challenges, he was able to stay strong and continue to deliver when it matters most, which for me I think is very massive. But for Carlos Alcaraz, he needs to finish very strong before I can take him serious again this time around.
All right, so at this point, we'll take a break, and we'll come back from this break. We'll bring you the latest as it concerns the CAF Women Champions League, where Edo Queens are currently in action against Masao. We'll take a look at that particular one, and of course, bring you the results down here. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network, and of course we're bringing the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports this evening. And of course we're talking about Edo Queens currently in action against Massa as it stand. 39 minutes gone in that encounter and is goalless in that particular game. Okay, what do you make of it? Goalless in that encounter between Edo Queens and Massa.
Yes, I think they need to win that game. I think a win in that game will automatically take them to the next stage of the competition. I think they were very, very good in their first game. They won by 3-0.
Yeah.
And leading to this competition, I think they were also fantastic. During the Wafu tournament, they were able to win that tournament, and which gave them the ticket to this competition. In the past, Nigerian teams have not really done so well in this competition. We've had the likes of Rivers Angels come to this competition. They didn't do well. We have seen the likes of, that should be Bayelsa Queens also come to this competition. The last team that should have been here did not make it through during the Wafu tournament, so they were unable to qualify for this one. So I think this is the third time a Nigerian team will be in this competition. And we have not really made a mark in this competition.
But the eyes have gone in third position.
Exactly. And when you look at football in Africa, let me not use football in Africa, women's football in Africa, I think we are the biggest in terms of ranking and everything. I think in terms of talents also, we are also good. In the national team, we have been able to dominate down the years. But when it comes to club football, I think we are also ahead of some countries, but we have not really been able to transmit that in the CAF Champions League, CAF Women Champions League. I don't know the reason why. And the likes of Rivers Angels couldn't do anything. The likes of Bayelsa Queens couldn't do anything. So we have allowed the teams from South Africa, Southern Africa, and also from the north, the teams from Morocco, doing very well. And when you look at the level of football, or let me say talent, between both, they are not really in terms of talent. They are not really equal. I think we have more talents. The talent pool is here. We even export and so many talents in the country, but we have not been able to make use of the advantage of having so many talents in the country. Though you might also say that these talents are very raw, and they may not really have the necessary facilities to get through the next level. I think most of them learn new things even when they travel abroad. They start afresh to learn the basics in football. So I think we also need to improve on that. I think we have so many raw talents, especially in the women's game. So maybe that has been the reason why we have not been able to transmit that to club football. National team football, we are very fine. The age grade football, we are fantastic. But when it comes to club football, we have not really been able to do that in terms of women's football. So for me, we need to find a way to dominate. We can't allow a team from Morocco to be dominating. We can't allow a team from southern part of Africa to be dominating. We need to show them that a team from Western Africa is also equal to the task. And that is what Edo Queens is trying to do. I think they have had support from the Edo State government. I think if any team have received support, I think the Edo State government have been supporting this team right from them winning the league, winning is it the Super 6 or was it the Super 4 or the Super 8? I don't know. But
Super 6.
That should be the Super 6. Then going for the Wafu tournament, I think they have been supporting the team and all that. So also, them traveling to, where is it happening? Morocco or South Africa? Where is this tournament? This should be in Morocco. I think they have also been able to get that support. The state government have been supporting them, and for me, they are doing very well. I think winning the first game is a good one. In any tournament, when you win your first game, it gives you that motivation to go for more, and that is what they have done. So for me, it's all about if they can be able to see out this game, maybe win, it will be good. I know the knockout will be very, very tough and difficult, but I think they have the right personnel also to be able to win this tournament. So for me, I wish them all the luck. I want them to go far. I want them to get to the finals. In fact, I want them to win the competition. If they can be able to win the competition, it will be a very surprising thing when we have the likes of Bayelsa Queens that have dominated Nigerian women football. We have the likes of Rivers Angels that have been dominant down the years. They couldn't make a mark when they went. If Edo Queens can be able to do it, well, that would be fantastic.
Let's see how it goes. We hope that they get the result. Goalless as it stands, in that particular encounter. and we'll see what comes up, from there. But away from that, let's get straight to the camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, as we hear that Sadiq Umar has now arrived in Abidjan to complete the Super Eagles 33-man squad for tomorrow's 2025 AFCON qualifiers against Benin Republic. The Rosary striker missed his flight to Cote d'Ivoire, and of course, but from what we hear, the man is now in camp. One man that so many persons, of course, is not, so many persons are not happy with his presence in the team. But I think the coach knows best why he called him down to the team. But Michael, 23 players in the camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. A lot of talks on the selection for ahead of tomorrow's encounter. What do you make of it? Just a point. The Super Eagles need just a point to qualify, and there have been talks of Eguavon at least making sure that some players who haven't really gotten game time tend to play at least in these two games.
Yeah, for me, I think Nigeria is not under any pressure whatsoever in this AFCON qualifier. We are on 10 points, just needed a point to make it through or to get the ticket right now. So for me, I do not think that we are under any pressure, and that is the time where I should expect the coach, talking about Austin Eguavon right now, to fill in some of the players that are not regulars for the Super Eagles. The likes of Gabriel Osho, who is, being invited to the camp, the first time. Last time when he was invited, injury could not allow him to debut. So this time around, I think he should be given a chance. Maduka Okoye has been doing pretty well for Udinese so far this season in Italy. So I expect him to start ahead of Stanley Wabale, who I think for me should sit on the bench so that we'll see the stuff that Maduka Okoye is made up of. At least to get back that confidence from the fans. You can't also forget easily how he was touted over the social media courtesy of that mistake he did last time out. So I think he needs to be given a chance this time around so that at least he can amend that mistake, and get back his place in the national team. Then again, for other players, we talked about Sadiq Umar and the question on why he was invited into the national team, considering his form, so far for this season. Taking a look at his form at Real Sociedad in the La Liga, he has played 6 games so far. Out of those 6 games, he just started 2. The rest 4 is coming via, substitution. No assist, no goal. And the question is, why waste the slot on Sadiq Umar? Why we have other players like Joash Maja that is doing pretty well?
He's not in this squad.
Chidera Ejuke is injured. Chidera Ejuke is injured for Sevilla. So but for me, I do not want to look at that angle of it. I think the man has the final say, talking about the coach as well. And then again, I think it is more like trying to balance the team. When you talk about the national character as well, we need to give some slot as well, to the north, to the east, to the south, a little bit here and there, so that at least everybody go there happy last in quote. So for me, I think it is a great opportunity for Coach Austin Eguavon to do some form of experiment, by giving first-hand jerseys to some of these new players. Maybe, just maybe in the second half, if things are not working out, you can bring in some of the regulars and allow them to change the game. But for me, I think we are not under any pressure whatsoever. We understand that Benin are not to be pushed over because they also defeated us 2-1 in the World Cup qualifying encounter. But then, if you take a look at the Super Eagles and the Beninois, I think there is a gulf in class between the Super Eagles. Let's just tell ourselves the truth. Let's forget about the fact that we failed to the hammer or to the edge sword against them in the World Cup qualifier. But then, I still think player-wise, in terms of quality, we are better off than Benin Republic. So I think we shouldn't be panicking just because we want to play Benin, where we just needed a point to go through and we say, okay, let's use our full squad and start the game.
They'll be coming out looking at the fact that they also want to qualify.
Of course, they will be coming out, but before you could make it to the 23-man squad of the national team of the Super Eagles, it means you have justified your inclusion. And you must also prove that on the pitch of play. It is a great honor for you to be invited for the national team. In fact, for you to don on the jersey of the Super Eagles, it's a great honor. There are so many people, begging and even dreaming to get such opportunity, and it's not coming so. So I believe anybody that is thrown into the first team out there to go out will be able to be patriotic enough to give his best on the pitch of play. So for me, I think it's going to be a 3 points and 3 goals for the Super Eagles against the Beninois.
Well, let me just say something.
Woko is smiling. I'm a prophet of good news.
There's a lot of Nigerians who always like to talk about things, especially when things are controversial. Sadiq Umar, people will say, okay, what has he really done? You understand? The last time we had Taiwo Awoniyi, Taiwo Awoniyi these days is not playing for Nottingham Forest because of the form of Chris Wood.
Yeah.
I think he's always on the bench. And people were saying, bring Akoro Dare. There's a player in France. And see, Sadiq Umar knows the national team very well. The coach doesn't really want to do all this testing at the moment, maybe because these days we don't really need this test. Maybe they would have said, okay, let's test some new players doing this qualifier, because by March is serious business. You understand? By March, you are not testing the waters or anything, because those games are games the Super Eagles need to win. So maybe they are trying to have that synergy with the players they have on ground and all that, so that by next year they will not be struggling and all that, because next year is even more bigger than what we are having now. Because I knew anyhow it will be, Nigeria will always finish first or second in the AFCON qualifiers. So for me, Sadiq Umar is another option in attack. Even though these days I don't really see, he might not even play.
Is he really an option in attack?
It's a different option. He's tall, he's lanky. Yeah, he can head the ball. I don't know, but I still think that it will always be Victor Osimhen and Victor Boniface. And we know we have the incoming, the incoming African Footballer of the Year, who is also in a very good form. I think the Super Eagles these days is all about Ademola Lookman. I think he's the force that carries the team. Look at all the games you have played in the qualifiers. He's been the one carrying the team. He's always there. So for me, he might even stay on the bench without even playing. Except maybe we are chasing a game, or maybe the coach decided to do so. It's still going to be Victor Boniface or Victor Osimhen. So let's not panic.
All right, let's not panic according to Woke. But Michael, I think we have to panic at this point in time because it calls for concern. The NFF seems to be so relaxed with Osne Guavon. He's acting on interim base, just like Woke mentioned. March will be the World Cup qualifiers. Can Guavon help us to qualify for the World Cup? Remember, he was the one who was at the end of first when we didn't qualify for last World Cup. Is Guavon the man for the job?
Well, for me, I think if you take a look at what he's done so far within the short stint that he came on board on interim basis, you cannot fault his results so far, which is evident on why we are topping on our Group D in the AFCON qualifier. Then you take a look at the synergy in the team. You talk about the balancing, you talk about the style of play. I think we've graduated beyond the pack the boss kind of stuff where we sit back to absorb pressure and I want to take our opponent on a counter. No, that is what Joseph Pizarro did during his era. Though somehow he was able to achieve the result, and that is why we got to the final of the African Cup of Nations. But was that convincing enough compared to the arrays of stars, the talents that the Super Eagles boast of, that anytime we are playing, even against smaller nations, in quotes, in the world of football, we are defending? No. But since Guavon came in, he has been able to steady the ship. He has been able to introduce a new philosophy where the Super Eagles keep possession of the ball. So for me, I think we should give him a chance. Don't forget, you need somebody who truly understands the philosophy of the team, and someone who truly understands what the Super Eagles fans want. Because the Super Eagles job is one of the biggest jobs in the world. We talk about Super Eagles, we talk about England. These are jobs that comes with pressure. We talk about Chelsea, when you talk about club side. These are jobs that come with a whole lot of expectation and pressure from the side of the fans. That if you don't do well, my brother, they are going to forget about what you've done in the past. So for me, looking at what Austin Eguavoen is doing from the short moment he came in, I tell you, it will be very dangerous to even let him go, to start scouting for a new coach, considering the time limit that we have before the next year World Cup qualifying encounter get underway, so that we don't go and let him go right now. We begin to talk about bringing Bruno Labbadia, who one day wake up and say, no, he was not contacted. He wasn't aware. Then we'll go to bring Las Laga back. These are names that, Nigerians. So instead of taking those risks, my brother, we need to settle with Austin Eguavoen.
Yes. I think he should be the one to take us to the qualifiers. It's too late. You can't just bring in a coach now. The coach will start afresh again. We don't need anything afresh.
True.
At the moment. So what they will do, maybe they should wait till after the qualifiers. And they can decide to appoint. But now, we need every... See, I like this synergy we have now. I like the togetherness we have now. Let's use it against these things, because the World Cup qualifier, we have games. These are not games you withdraw. We need wins.
Sure.
So I think it's too late to go for a new coach.
Okay.
If they want to spoil that team, going for a new coach will spoil that team. So
bringing a new man may come and divide the ship as it is. We saw what happened during Finidi George. Truth Ekong was still available, but he refused calling him. You asked, does he have any problem? During his era, they had problem with Victor Osimhen. So we don't need someone that will come and divide the bond that we are seeing presently.
And I like the fact that the coach is trying to play Victor Boniface. We need another option.
Okay.
Play all of them so that it's not when Victor Osimhen is not there, nobody is there.
All right, guys. Let's see what comes up. We hope for the best for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Tomorrow there will be action, yes, against Benin Republic, and we hope they get that needed victory in that encounter. I'll call it a wrap up at this point because our time is up. Tomorrow morning will be another interesting time, of course, to have this conversation. And I must say special thanks to Michael and Kingsley Woke as well for doing justice on the show this evening. Don't forget that social media handles are very much open. The conversation, of course, continues right there. Peace and unity always the pathways to progress. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel. Thanks for watching.